well off sometimes can learn from those that are not so advanced. And of course, those that are not so advanced will learn from the others. So we really want these kind of diverse partnerships to come together and to work together for vocational excellence. Now, what are we expecting from these cooperation partnerships of the Centres of Vocational Excellence between the countries? That you build on capacity, that you share experiences among yourselves, that you develop internationalization strategies that facilitate the mobility of learners. And in Erasmus Plus, in the next programming period, in the current programming period, we have a lot of funding available for mobility. So we want these sustainable partnerships over the years to work on all these aspects, work on applied research projects, share resources and equipment, establish innovation hubs with SMEs. So these are the kind of activities and things and objectives that we want you to achieve through these projects. Just to tell you that when we developed the concept, then we thought, let's see how the market understands it. And we launched 2 pilot calls. And in fact, some of these pilot projects will be explaining to you what they are doing still in this morning. But just to tell you that we've tested the idea, these are really the pioneer projects. And you have the title of the projects as well as the web links if you want to go and fetch and see more details of what these people are doing. These are, I would say, the pioneers of the initiative. They risked. They had no idea of what was coming up, and they risked and they went ahead, and I think they're performing very well, and there will be examples to inspire you for the applications that we expect to receive in the next few years. This is a summary slide. Not going to get into too much detail because my colleagues of the executive agency will tell you all about this. But just to tell you that in the next 7 years, we are grateful that the member states and the parliament agreed on a very substantial budget for this initiative. We'll have 400 million euros. 400 million, it's a lot of money, to support 100 platforms or networks of centers of vocational excellence. An important element that I would try to emphasize here, because I know there's many people from outside Europe, is that partners from outside Europe are welcome. We are convinced in Europe that we don't know everything. We have very good vocational systems without any doubt, but there's a lot that we have to learn from the Canadians, from the Kenyans, from the Australians, and we really incentive you to join these partnerships. So this is, as I said, my colleagues will get into more detail. I'm happy to then answer any questions you might have. Just the last slide to tell you what can you expect next. So the Erasmus call has been published on the 25th of March. It is open for application until the 7th of September. Today we have the information session. Then you can apply for funding until the 7th of September, as I said. There is a matching tool that I will show you very quickly that is being developed by the vocational centers that will help you find the right partners. And I will give you a quick overview of what it is. It is being launched today, and we'll provide you also with the address of this website. So this is what you can expect. And now very quickly I'm going to show you. Take note of the slide. It's important because it's where you can find the partners for your projects. And I'll show you now very quickly, if the system and if the internet allows me and supports me with this, I will show you. This is the first time I think it is being shown. It's a very simple matchmaking tool. If you want, I'm not sure I can use these terms, but it's sort of a Tinder for vet excellence, in the sense that you can find the right partners through this application. And how does it work? It's the first time I'm using it, so I might make something silly here. But for example, if you want to enroll your organization, be it a vet provider, company, whatever. You just go here, you add partner, you put your name over here, and then you just say, put me on the map, and it will take you to a series of questions that will allow to identify you, to say what you are looking for, what kind of partners you want to engage in, what kind of activities you want to engage in. And it also allows you over here, if you want to see vocational centers that already existed, remember I showed you that slide, you can just go here, you can press it, and you can then see, for example, this particular project, who are the partners involved, what kind of activities they are doing, who is leading the project, who are the partners throughout Europe that are involved in it. So this website really has all the information you can have. You can also go, you can search, you can say, what type of organization am I looking for? Is it the chamber? Is it the company? What kind of partner do I want to engage with? What is the education level? Is it ISCAD level 3, 4, or 5. You can select whatever you want. The sector of expertise, are you looking for a partner in arts or in construction, whatever? You search for it, and once we have you enrolling in this database, it will be very easy for you to find partners to see how best you can apply for funding. So this is basically what I wanted to show you for now, and we can, sorry, let me just get this through. There's these small hiccups, but fine. Now, having said this, having explained to you what are the objectives and outcomes that we want from this initiative, we're going to the next session where we will show you that what we are doing on vocational excellence in Europe is in fact not only something, a challenge for European vocational education and training. Many initiatives throughout the world are taking place, and we will share with you in the next few minutes. As I said, all of these presentations, all of these speeches are not more than 5 minutes, so I hope you will not get as bored as you got with me. And I will start maybe, if I can, if you just give me the possibility to do so. The first, sorry, just a moment, in the meantime, my computer got blocked, but we'll fix this right away. Excellent. So, the first speaker we'll invite is Jens Lieber. He's the man behind this BUILD initiative, which is looking at innovation and the future of VET, on bridging innovation for learning in TVET, and he works, as I said, at UNESCO UNIVOC, based in Bonn, but part of the family of the United Nations, which is focused on vocational training, and they have an expertise because they work with innovation centers from all over the world. They have a good perspective of what is happening at the world level and also supporting what is being done in that respect. I will now then ask Jens Lieber to please share with us.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings to all of you from UNESCO UNIVOC in Bonn, Germany. It's a pleasure to talk to you today on the occasion of this year's Erasmus Plus call for Centres of Vocational Excellence. I would like to extend my congratulations to Commissioner Schmidt and his team for this great initiative, as vocational excellence is a topic that is of great importance, both within the EU, but also beyond the EU borders. The world of work is changing rapidly, and TVET needs to adapt ever more quickly to keep up with those changes. Adapting to these changes is extremely important, on the one hand, to ensure that the skills produced in TVET systems are relevant and sought after in the labor market, but also to be attractive to learners and provide them with open career pathways. But making these changes in practice is sometimes very challenging for TVET institutions, even where the needs are clear in theory. And here is where excellent TVET institutions can play an important role. They can serve as examples, inspiration of what is possible, and be powerful guides and accelerators for development. In the spirit of the UNIVOC network, our international network of 230 institutions throughout the world, we're always looking for excellence with an inclusive component, which means that we look for institutions that are interested to engage in peer learning and may serve as examples for others. I would like to illustrate the importance of excellence along the dimensions of one of our projects called Bridging Innovation and Learning in TVET project, or short BUILD, which UNESCO UNIVOC is implementing with the support of the German Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training and sponsoring from the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research. The BUILD project is a platform for exchange, both within Europe, but also between Europe and Africa and Europe and Asia. In the BUILD project, our UNIVOC centers have identified 4 thematic priorities: digitalization, both in terms of digitalizing training and distance learning, greening TVET for greater resource efficiency and environmental sustainability, entrepreneurial skills which become ever more important assets, and the role that TVET can play in the integration of migrants into the workforce. And last but not least, we need to find ways to identify relevant new qualifications and competencies, integrate them in curricula and training regulations, and implement them in practice, which is an overarching theme of the BUILD project. Apart from our conferences and expert workshops, we also identify innovation and learning practices, which are examples of tackling the current challenges with a replication value elsewhere. And here we also have a number of contributions supported by Erasmus Plus and Centres of Vocational Excellence. For example, the Advanced Manufacturing Lab of Miguel Altuna in the Basque Country, Spain, as an example for digitalization in Tibet, the development of training modules and learning materials, such as the Green Wheels project on electric and hybrid vehicles by a consortium of 4 countries, the project Youth Start Entrepreneurial Challenges of a partnership surrounding the initiative for teaching entrepreneurship in Austria, all related to the integration of young migrants into the workforce through the mini-master program offered by Comité Formazione in Italy. These are all great examples of tackling current challenges in Tibet with a replication value, both within Europe but also beyond. So if you're interested to engage, please feel invited to join our bridging events, to have a look at those examples, and also let us know if you have something to share. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention and once more encourage all of you to make use of this great opportunity provided by the European Commission through its Erasmus Plus program. Working together, we will find a better and quicker way to tackle the Tibet challenges of our time more effectively.
Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, connects education and the world of work. It equips learners with the knowledge and skills needed for employment, decent work, and entrepreneurship. We support member states in strengthening and upgrading their TVET institutions through programs focused on capacity building, the sharing of knowledge resources, and collaborative peer learning. Our work promotes innovative TVET that is responsive to changing demands and paves the way for resilient and sustainable societies of the future.
Thank you very much, Jens Lieber. UNEVOC is a center with whom the European Commission cooperates for many, many years. They're doing an incredible job, not only in this project that you saw, but they also develop some self-assessment tools. They have a leadership program in which they're trying to provide leaders in the VET sector with the best expertise possible, and they are really partners that we cherish. I would like to now, before we go to the next speaker, just remind you that we have on Slido, we've just launched the first question asking, sorry, the second question asking what type of organization you represent, and I would incentive you to please go there so that we have an understanding. As I said, we did not require registration for this event, so it is extremely important that we get an idea of who's listening and who's interested in what we are doing. So please continue. I will change screen, but Slido is still active. You please answer the question, which is very useful for us. Now, the next speaker doesn't really need any kind of presentation, because Denise from the Colleges and Institutes of Canada, which has also been very much involved with the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics, is one of the most known people in the world in vocational training, in community colleges, and she will share with us what is being done in Canada. As I said, you know, I've been to Canada, I've seen some of the community colleges they have. They have incredible work that they are doing on applied research, on reaching, you know, of really going out in many respects, being innovative in the way the community colleges work. And I would now pass the floor to Denise to hear all her wisdom on what can be done and possibly inspire you for some of the projects that you will be working on.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Denise Emilio. I'm President CEO of Colleges Institutes Canada, CICAN. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Our members include colleges, institutes, cégeps, and polytechnics, and 15 universities that also have a college mandate. Although they may have a different name in Canada, those post-secondary institutions basically have the same characteristics: applied learning, industry-focused, and connected to their communities. Most of them also offer four-year degrees, except in Quebec and in Nova Scotia. So today, I will be using the generic word colleges. Here are all of the physical locations of CICAN members in the country. Over 95% of the Canadian population live within 50 kilometers of one of our campuses, and over 86% of Indigenous. I was asked to identify few areas that could be interesting in the context of Erasmus Plus and the Centres of Vocational Excellence. I chose applied research, SDGs, and teacher development. So first, let's start by applied research. The applied research centers at our colleges play a critical role in Canada's innovation ecosystem, driving innovation and Canadian competitiveness in offering services such as technology transfer, commercialization, prototyping, and product development. We all know that SMEs, small medium enterprise, often lack the resources or specialized technology and networks to solve their own challenges or their problems. So college applied research is collaborative in nature and supportive of industry needs, with intellectual property remaining with the industry client. The applied research covers all sectors, ranging from agriculture, food processing, climate change, manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and more, or even social innovation. The second area that may be of interest to you is the SDGs. Working towards the Sustainable Development Goals is very important for our association and our members because it's what we do every day. Colleges and institutes are playing a critical role in preparing a workforce ready to meet the challenges of sustainability. Our association is engaging its members to strengthen the sector's awareness of the SDGs and build on leading practices that involve students, faculty, staff, employers, and the broader community. Some examples of what our members do cover a variety of areas, moving from sustainability to entrepreneurship, etc. In terms of professional development, our colleges and institutes recognize that we are all being asked to make big changes in the way we operate. It is critical for instructors to invest in their own learning and development. So some examples offered by colleges: learning online pedagogy, and learning about the various equipment and software, creating dedicated faculty teaching commons to share ideas, strategies, and resources, online teachers training program for those teaching trades technology program. As part of Canada's international education strategy, I could not talk to you about a brand new program that we have to enable Canadian college and undergraduate university students to acquire in-demand skills through study or work abroad opportunities. This program focuses on widening access and equity to participation and diversifying the destinations countries where students choose to study or work abroad, or testing innovative approaches to reducing barriers to participation. This means we are looking for partners. Today, I also represent the World Federation of Colleges and Polytechnics as its past chair. The WFCP is an international network of more than 50 national and regional associations of colleges from about 30 countries, a bit like Erasmus, but for the world. So the association serves as a unified voice, enabling its members to promote and influence TVET education and learn from each other. At WFCP, we promote the important role of TVET in helping individuals build a prosperous career. And since 2014, we have been developing and maintaining several affinity groups, or another word for this would be international communities of practice. So the affinity groups are formed around shared interests or common goals and are designed to give members a space to collaborate and exchange best practice in their areas of expertise. So if you want more information about the World Federation, please visit our website or register to the newsletter. So it was a pleasure seeing you today, and I look forward meeting you in person. Au revoir, à bientôt, goodbye.
Thank you, Denise. And in the meantime, I see that almost 500 people have already responded to Slido to understand the kind of organizations where you come from, and I see that almost half of them are from the education and training providers, and then you've also got government representatives, got consultancy, international organizations, public employment services. I would incentive you to please continue sharing with us this information where you come from. I know that there are more than 500 people online, so we've got almost 500 already responding, which means that you are participating in this, which is very good news. And I will now pass the floor to the next speaker. The next speaker is a good friend. We've worked very closely together in the last few months. He's been really incredible in the support of sharing experience. And as I said, vocational excellence is all about sharing the very best we have among all of us. And he has extensive experience in public-private partnerships. He's behind one of the major initiatives in the Netherlands to support these kind of public-private partnerships for the modernization of VET. Even in the Netherlands, even if they've got a very good system, they are not satisfied with what they have, and they continue incentivizing improvements. And I will now pass the floor to Peter Moorman to tell us more about his work.
Hello, and thank you very much for this opportunity to talk a little bit more about public-private partnerships and how to implement them. Because I believe these partnerships are at the core of the Centres of Vocational Excellence. My name is Peter Moorman. I'm co-founder of Catapult, and I've been working and researching public-private partnerships for over the last 10 years. But first, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Schmid and his entire team for this amazing program of Centres of Vocational Excellence. And I truly believe it can make a real impact on how VET schools and companies work together. First, a little bit about Catapult. Catapult is an open source learning network of over 300 public-private partnerships. And the entire aim of Catapult is help develop, expand and grow these partnerships. And we do this by exchanging lessons, connecting similar partnerships to each other to learn, disseminate the knowledge that is already there. Because there are so many lessons already to be learned, so everyone gets a head start and really benefits from all the knowledge other people already have founded. And this has been quite successful in the Netherlands, in these partnerships. and it's been growing a lot as well. As you see, in 2017 there were 6,000 companies involved. In 2019 this has grown to 10,000 companies. And the students have grown from 50,000 students to almost 90,000 students in 2019, and it's been growing even further. We now almost reach 10% of all the students, and the students do meaningful innovation projects, lifelong learning courses, and all these activities together with students. So this growth really shows a success factor, and I'd like to share 5 tips that I have for you to help develop your own Centre of Vocational Excellence. Because essentially these centers are locally or regionally embedded, with a strong partnership, interconnected by the platforms of vocational excellence, that again connects them to other platforms or other relevant networks, such as innovation networks, that really desperately look for good people and where the Centres of Vocational Excellence can help with. So, I mentioned 5 tips, and here they are. Number 1, each center or each partnership needs to have equal partners. So in this sense, schools and companies are equal to each other. They do different things, but are equal. So my first tip is drink lots of coffee at the right level. You really want to have a meaningful conversation with the director of the school and the director of a company. Where are we going to? What is our region heading to? What is the need of the company, but what is also the need of the teachers? And what can we do together? Really establish this equal connection between each other so you have a solid foundation to build upon. Second tip is a stakeholder analysis. Centers are inherently demand-driven. They follow what the region and the innovation needs of the companies is. In order to know this, you need to have an analysis of where are we heading? What is the need of the companies? What is the need of the students and teachers as well? We provided some examples on our website as well, how to approach such an analysis. And it's a really good basis to build your work on. Third tip, and then the fun starts, is building your partnership. You will want different building blocks because each group of partner often wants something different. Some are really focused on lifelong learning, whilst others really want to do innovation projects. Don't begin with all building blocks at the same time, but pick 2 or 3 with meaningful activities. And after that you can expand even more. And these building blocks are a way to really help building your partnership up until it's being sustainable and runs for over 10 years or even longer. To help make it sustainable, it's crucial to have a business model. The first partnerships in the Netherlands that started in 2010 now reach their 10-year anniversary, and they really make a true impact. And how do they become self-sustainable? It's because they have a solid business model. They have a good revenue stream and they know what they're talking about. How do you organize this? Who has what role? And this business model canvas that is mentioned on the slide is a really good way of talking to each other and filling it out. Fifth, and perhaps the most important tip. These are pictures of successful partnerships. They weren't successful at the start. They've been innovating, developing, researching, trying new things, really showing problem-solving behavior. And this is at the core of each partnership. You can't lay out a 5-year plan and expect everything to go ahead, because developments go on and new companies want to join, other companies stop. So you really want to solve your problems, be creative and innovate all the time. And I believe that's one of the most important ways to get a sustainable and very strong partnership within your region. So these were the 5 lessons I wanted to share. As Catapult, we're already on the move. I provided some website links as well, where you can read a little bit more about what I told. And I'd like to invite you to move along with us and really revolutionize the way schools and companies work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. I hope that the experience of Peter on these business education partnerships can also inspire the quality of your project applications. Just a quick word on Slido. I see that in just a few minutes it increased by almost 100. This is excellent. In the next few minutes I'll pass to the next question. But in the meantime, I'm happy to present to you Manuela Prina. Manuela is working at the European Training Foundation, a European agency, agency that is focused on skills development in 29 partner countries outside the European Union, and she represents an agency that is a sort of a bridge between what we do in Europe in terms of vocational training and what is done outside Europe. And in fact, the European Training Foundation, I take the opportunity to thank the colleagues in the agency. I know there's a very dynamic and interested, enthusiastic team on vocational excellence at the ETF, and really thank you for all the contribution you've given. I'm not going to name anyone in special, but you know who you are. You've helped us in designing the concept, and we hope that we can count with you to continue supporting us in this journey on vocational excellence to improve the quality and attractiveness of VET in Europe and also beyond Europe. So I will now pass the floor to Manuela to share some ideas with us.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm very happy to join the event today and to introduce all of you to the ETF Network for Excellence. Let me share with you some information about our activity. First of all, a couple of words regarding the European Training Foundation. We are the European Union agency that works in the field of human capital development in countries surrounding the European Union. In the last couple of years, we have launched a specific activity, the ETF Network for Excellence, that aims really at supporting excellence across partner countries and at the same time link up partner countries with excellence in the European Union. As of now, we have 187 centers of excellence as part of the network from partner countries, from the European member states, and also from Africa. And this is a growing number that has really grown over the last few months, and every day we really receive requests to join in the network. But what is this network doing? This network is focusing on several domains of work that are coming as demands from the network itself. So we have an initiative on work-based learning, we have an initiative on autonomy and public-private partnership, we have initiative on digitalization, and the new kids on the block are entrepreneurship, greening, and social inclusion. How are those activities taking place? It's through different means, through peer learning, but also through concrete activities around those topics that are framed as partnerships where different COVES come together around a facilitator and the European Training Foundation to actually engage in several activities, reflect together on topics, take actions around those issues identified. And the results of those partnerships are then shared as tools across the network. We have framed our experience and our initial reflections in a publication that I invite you to have a look at, and it's on our website. And also on our website, you can find the list of all 187 and growing members of the network. How do you get in touch with us? First of all, you can send, of course, an email to this address to get in touch with us. All centers of excellence undergo and join in a self-assessment, which is important to become part of this community, but also to start the dialogue around the different dimensions that are in focus in the ENE network. You join one of the partnership, and of course, you are welcome to join our peer learning event. So before leaving you, this is our motto. We want to excel together. The ENE network is really important as a bridge between the European Union and partner countries, especially now that the Erasmus Plus and the initiative on Centers of Excellence is growing, and the role of internationalization of VET is very important, and it will be even more for the near future. So with this, I want to leave you with a short video that summarizes what I just presented to you. And I thank you very much, and thank you the organizers for inviting us. And I hope to see you soon in one of the events and activities of the ENE network.
Thank you, Manuela. And I think now I hope you can see on the screen the mosaic of countries that are listening into the web stream today. And buongiorno Italia, tutti amici italiani. I see that Italy is in first place, the country where we have most of the participants from. I hope the others also make us know. We have almost 200 people that have already shared the country where they come from. And I see people from everywhere, Malawi, from Ukraine, from all over the world. So it shows the potential of this initiative to bring partners together far beyond Europe and really to create a culture of excellence in TVET. Very happy to see so many countries participating, not only Italy, of course, France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, also very well represented. My Portugal, by the way, very well represented, and I would really incentive you to let us know where you come from. In the previous polls, we've had more than 500 people responding, which is very good, and I hope we can get the same, that we have this wonderful mosaic of countries from all over the world. So this is open. Please continue responding. Now, this brings us to the next part and the last session before the coffee break, before you get your coffee break. We are 5 minutes behind schedule. I think it's not very serious. Usually my meetings go far beyond schedule. 5 minutes is quite good. Now, I will, in this session, you'll see 3 innovative projects, really wonderful people that I've had the pleasure to meet, that are giving their very best in inventing somehow this initiative and helping us also with their work to see things that where we can make our calls better. And then, with the feedback we get from these people, we work with the executive agents and we see how we can design the calls better. So there might be changes over the year because we are continuously trying to improve so that we really have an initiative that responds to what you need. So this is not something that we're imposing from Brussels. On the contrary, we're trying to understand what you need and how can we design these things to serve your purpose. So we'll have the first presentation from Carolina Cicala. She's from the European Platform on Urban Greening. We have 3 COVE projects which are focused on the green sector, and this is one of them. And then we'll have Adriana on a different area, on Internet of Things in smart manufacturing. And then we have a project which is also very much close to my heart that we'll have Paolo Nardi explaining it. It is focused on the social dimension of vocational excellence. This is very important. Vocational excellence is not only about excellence in the sense of being, competitive and being contributing competitiveness, because we can also contribute to competitiveness through social inclusion. And this is a wonderful project that you'll see that is also being taken place, that shows the diversity in the ways that vocational excellence can be applied in different sectors, different themes. So I will now pass the floor I forgot to put the slide, sorry, to Carolina to share with us how they are working. In particular, she's from Denmark, but this project involves many other countries in Europe, how she is working on this European platform for urban greening. So now,
good morning and good afternoon.
Oh la la, sometimes you get these things. Just a moment. I've got Manuela once again. Sorry for this.
think we all
Carolina,
have
the
same
floor is
challenge.
yours.
The number of students that are choosing the vocational education decrease every year. Hello everybody, my name is Karolina Shikawa and I am International Coordinator at the Green Academy in Denmark. I am also the Regional Captain in European Platform for Urban Greening Project. Before I will share with you our first experience in this project, I would like to tell you about our dream of using the Centre of Vocational Excellence in Denmark. Actually, we have a lot of things similar to NASA. You might laugh now, but actually in NASA, all stakeholders, all people that are working there, they have the similar passion for space. In our project, all stakeholders that are involved in this project, they have also the same passion for urban greening. I would like to share with you this history when Kennedy, President of the United States, visited the NASA Space Center. He met the man mopping the floor and he asked, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I am helping to put the man on the moon." So actually by doing the small things, you can contribute to the big things. That is why we need in our Centre of Vocational Excellence cooperation, communication, and being creative. All stakeholders, they must understand why they have to be in our project, how they can contribute, and also what they're going to do in order to achieve the success. I would like to share with you our experience with the first course, Biodiversity. The first course, we started to work on it a few months ago, and we couldn't wait. We just want to start to do something. And the company decided to make their own needs analysis. They started by putting the question on LinkedIn, how the future jobs will look like in 10, 20 years within the urban greening. They received a lot of input from different stakeholders. After that, they decided to invite different representatives from the company, and they were trying to put it into the boxes. They decided that the next very important step is to send their workers to get the biodiversity course. So they contacted us, the Green Academy. Based on the input from the company, we made the program draft. The program draft was sent to the company for the approval. We got it, and at the same time, we started to do the networking. In the Centre of Vocational Excellences, we are working on the regional needs, but actually we have to remember to use our international partners in order to get the best knowledge needed. Also, very often we say, do not invent the wheel, adjust the wheel. So it's important to share our expertise with our colleagues all over Europe. Based on this, we make the final draft. We invited to help us in this project the colleagues from the Netherlands, and they contribute to this final program. After I made the interview with the company manager, I asked how was it to be involved in this course making, and he said it was the first time in his life that he was contributing so much, that he was very involved and he could contact with our teachers and also his workers. So actually he really liked the way we cooperate. And our next step is to involve even more stakeholders that will contribute in creation of the Centre of Vocational Excellence. The next step is to involve the primary schools. We'll make the course about the urban greening for the pupils, and we really hope that after some time they will choose the education within urban greening. Thank you very much for your attention. In case you have questions, do not hesitate to contact me or our project leader, Jan Geronimos from the Welland. I was really happy to have this possibility to share with you our experience. I can't wait to see your example how to make the Centre of Vocational Excellence next year. Good luck with the application.
Thank you, Carolina. Now I need the support of our technical staff to make sure that the WebEx connection that we have is running, because the next speaker is Adriana. Adriana is the project leader of, as I said, one of the pioneer projects on COVE's talent journey, on Internet of Things in smart manufacturing. Adriana, you are welcome. I don't know if we can have Adriana on the web streaming. I understand she has some difficulties in showing her PowerPoint, but if it doesn't work from your side, Adriana, no problem. I have your presentation. I can run it from here. All I need is a nod from you to say, change the slides. So can I ask our technicians, can we have Adriana in the air? Adriana, I don't see.
Do we?
Adriana, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, I hope they can also see you. So welcome, Adriana, the floor is yours.
So can you share the PowerPoint presentation from Brussels?
I can, just a moment. Can you see it? And we can see Adriana as well. So everything is fine. Adriana, go ahead. The floor is yours. Just tell me when you want me to change the slides and I will do it.
Okay, thank you. So dear participants, hi from my side as well. Today I would like to share our story of Talent Journey, which is the platform for IoT vocational excellence. Our brand name is Talent Journey because we believe that everyone who will enter our platform will be on a constant journey of discovering and developing the potentials. Just move on. We have decided for IoT in smart manufacturing and wider because by 2018, people all around the world had used 22 billion devices connected to the internet. In the next decade, it's estimated that the amount will be doubled. As that sector, we definitely need to respond to this change. So just move to the first slide, please. We are 13 partners from Finland, Estonia, Italy, Germany, and from Slovenia. We are actively expanding our network and invite new partners on our journey. So you are welcome. Let's move to the fourth slide. Here is the photo because it's about people. Everything we achieve there is an individual or group of individuals behind investing so much effort, time, and enthusiasm in our common goals. Just proceed to the next slide, please. We design, develop, and offer the whole holistic experience for a learner on the way of education and training to the whole life. We enable the learner the insights into labor market to discover which opportunities are waiting for them out there. The learner can choose among various IoT courses and learn about modules for transnational curriculum, lifelong trainings, and trainings for professional development. Through innovative approaches and by using digital tools and tutoring, we introduce personalized approach to help develop their potentials and talents. We map the IoT mentors to offer the learner not only professional, but also personal growth. And we give the learner the opportunity to be part of our rich network of various VET stakeholders to innovate in hands-on projects and work on real-life cases, search for work opportunities, and find the appropriate company match. We offer the learner international experience in IoT field to enable the knowledge to circulate between the environment where the learner comes from and abroad countries. And finally, the learner can learn more about IoT fields from additional resources in our digital IoT library, which has been establishing. Please just move on. We have kick-started a new VET movement, I could say, to design, develop, and to pave the IoT lifelong learner pathway. We need to approach in a very holistic way through different angles, learning processes, teaching, organization, partnerships, as well as the need for systemic changes. In the past year and a half, we have created and established so many valuable partnerships and relations essential for our processes and services, and included really all stakeholders, learners, teachers, mentors, leadership, company experts, startup experts, researchers and coordinators, VET counselors, policymakers, because it's essential to include all stakeholders from the scratch on. If you are a creator of something, you will definitely, it's going to be much easier, take the ownership of what you have created. In this slide, I want to share with you some very valuable moments with our stakeholders that are bringing us to the results important for all of us. In the next slide, you can see our user journey of the lifelong learner, where all the most important and most repeated thoughts of the interviewed learners through talent journey time were caught. Actually, it's the visualization of the learner individual steps to take to reach their goal over time and across different channels. We have learned here, what we have learned here were our starting points and guides to develop the holistic experience for a learner in IoT that I showed you before. In the next slide, to run the platform of vocational excellence, you need to have a clear vision and mission. Talent journey, vision, mission, and principles are our guides and companions through our steps, decisions, and activities. Humanity-centered, we want to create a system for our users. Our provision focuses on providing IoT skills, how to lead, work together, and solve problems, and answer to challenges. So our courses integrate green and meta skills. Learner-oriented. That's why we include them from the beginning in designing educational training processes to recognize their needs and interests. Holistic. IoT is connected to so many other disciplines. Our courses and other activities, services connect IoT with artificial intelligence, cyber, robotics, data science. Collaborative. We encourage collaboration and teamwork at all levels of planning and implementing. Self-guiding, we want to offer the learner the opportunity to take the co-ownership of learning processes to get better prepared for future life. And informed, user feedback is for us essential and give us information and insights how to continue. The next slide. Now we already all know that the changes are needed and we need to challenge them together. That's why the COVA initiative is really welcome. Thank you for your attention. If any information needed, you have my email or the webpage site, and please do not hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adriana. Thank you for sharing with us what has been your experience and the work you are doing. I'm sure that if people want more details on Talent Journey, they will contact you. And now we go to the last presentation of these currently ongoing projects on vocational excellence. Our friend Paolo Nardi, he connects from the beautiful city of Como in Italy, where Cometa is based, and he's acting as the project leader of this incredible project focused on vocational excellence from a social inclusion dimension. Paolo, I hope you can hear me. Are we connected with Paolo?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Paolo. If you manage to put your slides perfect, if you don't, no problems. I've got them with me. Yeah. I can do that for you.
I'm trying, so I hope you can see my screen. So actually, my name is Paolo Nardi, and I work for Cometa, and Cometa is leading, as Joao was mentioning, the COVA project Governance for Inclusive Vocational Excellence. Thank you, by the way, Joao, for this opportunity, and good morning, everybody. What I'm going to share with you is, first of all, the challenge that we are facing. And the challenge is it possible for VET to be excellent, but leaving no one behind? Or in other words, can we have inclusive excellence? Well, actually, this is the experience that Cometa and the other partners of our project in Finland, Malta, Spain, Romania are doing daily, are living daily with a wide range of learners with different disadvantages, but in unique inclusive environments where learners with or without disadvantage learn together. How is it possible? Because in our experience, we move from the human factor, so from the value that every learner has, So our challenge is to make this value thrive in order, to reach the personal, but also the social inclusion and excellence. How we are, sorry, I think I lost the sharing. Can you move the slide, please?
Yes, Paolo, I would suggest that I move it from Brussels. You just tell me to change the slide and I'll do it. It's better. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. So how we are going to work on in order to address this challenge at 3 levels. In order to let the human factor, the human value thrive, we need to work first of all at training and educational level. So it means to work on specific practices, including personalization, mentoring, reality-based learning. But in order to introduce these innovations, we need to work also at management and leadership level in vet centers and companies. So it means, for instance, to work on inclusion management, to work on school enterprise models. But again, to work on these innovations, we need to apply a real ecosystemic approach. So the idea is to work on models of governance where we make possible to have real changes in terms of inclusion and excellence at management level and training level. The plan of the project is very simple to some extent. We move from a scientific analysis of the concept of inclusive vocational excellence. And this scientific analysis will provide with a scientifically sounded framework the practices that we are going to outline in terms of training models, management models, governance models. These 2 elements, the scientific framework and the practices that we are going to outline, will be crucial to prepare and realize training tools and training modules that we are going to test and implement during our project. And all these material will be shared through platforms that we are going to launch in the second part of the project in order to make our platform of Centers of Vocational Excellence a real platform, a real community of experts for managers, for leaders, for trainers, tutors in the vet ecosystem. This is possible thanks to a great consortium with vet centers, companies from Italy, Finland, Malta, Romania, Spain, but also beyond Europe, Tunisia and Belarus. Please, next slide. In all these countries, we have involved different actors, because in order to reach the inclusive vocational excellence, our experience is that we need to work at ecosystemic level. So we work with the quintuple helix cooperation. In the project, we have the vet community. It means vet centers, learners, trainers, tutors, managers and leaders, companies, but we also have policymakers. We have researchers, university from Finland, University of Bucharest from Romania, and we have development agencies. For instance, we have an advisory board where we involve representatives from CEDEFOP, ETF, UNEVOC, VetNet, and of course, FVET, which is one of our partners. Please, next slide. We do hope together in this cooperation to give a real contribution to make vet excellent and inclusive, and in order to make every learner thrive. I hope this suggestion can be useful for you, for your next activities. I would like to thank you all, and please keep in touch for any question, through our website, social media, and good luck. Bye. Thank you very much.
Grazie Paolo. So I would say that this closes the session we had before the coffee break. We are 9 minutes behind schedule, but we'll respect and give you the 10 minutes coffee break before you listen to all the important information on how to get your project prepared and how to submit it, and our colleagues of the executive agency will give you all the information you need. Just to say that on Slido, I don't know if my colleagues can put it on the screen, we have almost 600 people already replying, which is excellent, because usually there are many more people that are following the event than the ones that get onto Slido. Italy is the winner, so the first prize for Italy in this case, but I'm very happy to see people from Azerbaijan, Belarus, Palestine, Jordan, all over the world. Really very grateful to all of you. I have to excuse myself because, you know, I've got many very good friends that care about me, that don't want me to make a bad image of what I'm doing, and they've been sending me messages on WhatsApp saying, you know, your Explorer is showing, we're seeing your Explorer on the internet, and that, you know, sometimes I thought I was talking but you are not listening to me. So there's always these technical details, but you know, we are just EU officials, we try our best, we are not professional moderators, so I hope you forgive us for these small problems that happened, and we will improve, and next year it will be much better, I can assure you. But thank you very much for listening to this part. It's 11 o'clock precisely. I would suggest that please at 11:10 you all please come back to really learn all you need to know about how to put the projects forward. Just to tell you that, remember that web page I showed you of how you can show that you have interest in being a partner for this, so that other organizations from within Europe and outside Europe can link up with you and see how best to apply for funding. My colleagues from the Netherlands already told me that there are quite a few new registrations just in the last few minutes. France seems to be leading the number of registrations. Very good to have France also embarking and helping us in developing vocational excellence in Europe. Just a word of incentive, please enroll there, because it's the best way of you to find partners, to see in what activities the others want to work, and this can really be an important tool for matchmaking and bringing all of you together for the good of vocational excellence. So this is it, 11 o'clock, 11:10, in just 10 minutes. Please come back. My colleague Michelle will be moderating this last part, and I will only come back to you at the very end when the two heads of unit from the European Commission and from the executive agency will close the event and give you the last words of today. Thank you very much for your attention until now. Please continue engaging in Slido. Thank you. Have a nice coffee.
The Center for Innovative Water Craftsmanship focuses on educating employees and students to a vocational level in the field of water and is located at the Water Campus in Leeuwarden. While working with educational institutions, as well as governmental agencies, such as Waterschap Friesland and Vitens, we aim to contribute to the development of outstanding water professionals, nationally and internationally. We do so by organizing courses for professionals with our water partners. The knowledge of these professionals forms the basis of our courses. Professionals share knowledge by educating each other. These new insights are used in our vocational courses. Together with Center of Expertise, Water Technology and VETSUS, CIV Water promotes lifelong learning in the water sector.
Dear all, welcome back to this information session on the Centre of Vocational Excellence. We are very pleased to see that there are so many people from so many countries that are following us online on the moment. Please note also that this web streaming will be available on the website where you were connected, but also on the website of the Executive Agency after the meeting. So, during this second part of the event, we wish to provide you with very concrete application on the call for proposal and on the application process. The Erasmus Plus support to the Centre of Vocational Excellence was very successfully implemented already since 2019, conjointly by the European Commission and the European Executive Agency for Education and Culture. So we saw this morning excellent example of practice presented by projects that were selected already during those last few years. So we hope that it was very inspiring for you that are preparing maybe already a new project. On the basis of those promising results, we have continued to improve this call for proposal. The scope of the call is enlarged this year. The application process is supported by very new IT corporate tools in a perspective of harmonization among all the services of the Commission. New simplified funding mechanisms based on lump sum are proposed to the applicant with a specific focus on the quality of the application, on the quality of the work program that will be supported. So during the second part of the event, we will structure the presentation in 3 sessions. During the first session, how to prepare a good application, our call coordinator, Hélène, a very experimented project advisor, will present the key success factors of a COVE project. During the second session, how to find the co-funding opportunities and how to apply, you will receive very concrete information from Marco, the architect of the e-grant within the Executive Agency. The third session will be dedicated to the new funding mechanism, simplified funding mechanism. The new lump sum system will be presented to you. After those interventions, we have organized a question and answer session. You might have noticed that during the first part of the presentation, we have already answered, together with my team, to many questions that were asked via Slido. All those questions will be replied. During the question and answer session, we will pick some of them that are the most popular. In parallel, we are receiving also many questions via our functional mailbox that will be operational during the next 4 months. And for those questions that we will, for obvious reason linked to the timing, that we will not have the opportunities to reply to, do not worry, we will reply to them in incorporating them in the frequently asked questions that will be available on the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal. I invite you to already connect to this first session by listening to our first speaker. It's Hélène Barry. Hélène has been working actually for the Executive Agency since its creation in 2006. She has more than 30 years' experience working with EU programs in the area of education, research, vocational training. She has coordinated many calls for proposal, advised, guided, coached many projects in the field of adult education, youth, and vocational excellence, of course. Hélène, I'm sure that our public would like to know more about the timetable of the call for proposal. What about the selection process? What is the budget available? What about the supporting resource available? What about the evaluation criteria? How does the application form look like? The audience, for sure, would also appreciate your good advice on how to prepare a solid project. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Michel. Yes, I'm sure they will like to hear about this, and I will talk about all these issues in my presentation. And this morning we heard about very inspiring projects, we heard about the policy, and I heard that this was a very good experience, and now you are already Thank you. You're all ready to hear everything about preparing a good proposal. So let's move on. In this presentation, I will explain briefly the timetable, the budget available, where to find the information to prepare the proposal, the evaluation criteria, we will see the application form, and I will give some advice to applicants, although we already heard a lot this morning. So the timetable. Deadline, we heard already, it's 7th of September. If there is one thing to remember from this session, it's the deadline. It's very important. It seems far away, but in fact, it's tomorrow. So keep this in mind. It takes a lot of time to prepare such an application. The evaluation period is from September to January 2022. This seems like a long period, but it takes time to evaluate these proposals. We want to do it correctly. We use independent experts to evaluate the proposals. We have a monitoring evaluation committee, supervising all the steps in the evaluation. The results are submitted at very high level to be approved. So this takes time. You should get information about the results in February 2022 with a letter informing you if you're selected or not, with the score for each of the award criteria and a detailed analysis of the evaluation. The grant agreement should be signed in April or May 2022. The grant agreement is the contract between the consortium and the executive agency, and it explains the rights and obligations of both parties. And then we expect the project to start on 1st of May or 1st of June 2022. The budget available. Okay, we heard before the maximum EU grant per project is 4 million. And then the maximum EU co-financing is 80%. The 4 million, we received a question, it's for all the partners, and it's for the 4 years, okay? And for the maximum EU co-financing of 80%, it means that the own financing, of course, coming from the partner consortium must be 20%. So if you have a budget of 5 million, it means that you have to, if you apply for a grant of 4 million, your budget must be of 5 million. You have to provide 1 million of co-financing. The total budget available for this action is 44 million. This means that if all the projects apply for 4 million, we can finance 11 proposals. So this is the range of order. This year, this is new, we financed the project with lump sums. So we hope this will make the whole process more efficient, easier to manage. And basically, well, my colleague Marco will explain later in detail what it is. But once the project is approved, the budget, there is a budget approved as well, and a budget per work package. And this becomes the lump sum for each work package. At the end of the project, if all the deliverables and activities are done as planned, as approved, then you get the lump sum. That's the principle. Okay. Where to find the information? Well, there are two main resources. First, the program guide, which is the Bible, where you can find all the information about the Erasmus program. And you can find also, of course, detailed about the Centre of Vocational Excellence, with information on the objectives, the content, the result expected, the condition for participation, the evaluation criteria. And then you have the Funding and Tenders Opportunities portal. This is the portal where you have to submit your proposal electronically. It's the system for e-grants that we are using for the first time this year. And this portal also includes instructions, frequently asked questions. It includes a search for partner facility. It also includes information on results and projects. Now, the evaluation criteria. There are 4. And each proposal must go through all these steps to be selected. First, you have the eligibility criteria, the exclusion criteria, selection, and then award criteria. And I will speak a bit more in detail about each of these criteria. For the eligibility criteria, these are the conditions to be allowed to participate in the program. If you don't pass the eligibility criteria, you cannot go further in the selection. So these are very important to know and to follow. Deadline, we've said it, but please remember, very important, 7th of September, 5 o'clock, Brussels time. 4 years, the project has to be 4 years, not less, not more. And of course, you need to apply via this system, otherwise we cannot receive it. Who can participate? Well, any public or private organization active in VET or in the world of work and legally established in a program country or in any partner country can be involved as full partner, affiliated entity, or associated partner. So there's a lot of information there. I will explain a bit more in detail what are the program countries. But what is to remember here is that any public or private organization active in VET or in the world of work and legally established in, well, these countries. But basically, this covers nearly the whole world. Okay, which country can participate? Well, you have the Erasmus Plus partner countries. Erasmus Plus program countries. The program countries are the 27 member states, EU member states, of course, and then you also have countries that have signed an agreement with Erasmus Plus to be part of the program country, so to be full partners fully taking place in the whole program. And these are Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Republic of North Macedonia, Serbia, and Turkey. They are called non-EU Erasmus Plus program countries. And then, in addition to these countries, new this year, you can add organizations from what we call partner countries. It's a bit confusing, but partner countries, remember that these are most other countries in the world. The list, the detailed list, is in the program guide, part A, but basically these are the partners that are recognized by the European Union as formal partners, and as such they can participate in some actions, depending on the action. Okay, which country can participate as associated partner? This is another type of partner. Associated partner means that they participate with no funds. They receive no money, no grant. For these countries, there must be really a demonstrated added value to the project. Okay, so you have to see, you want to add a partner that will help you for the dissemination or for testing or whatever. You can, but you can demonstrate that they will really add a value to the project. And these countries are the same as the one for full partners. Okay, what should the partnership look like? João has also addressed this theme. This is very important, and bear in mind, this is one criteria on which many projects failed last year. It's not so easy to follow. So there has to be 8 full partners. This is the minimum size of the partnership, 8 full partners from 4 Erasmus Plus program countries. So program countries, so not partners outside the program or somewhere in the world. And in these 4 program countries, you have to include 2 member states. So for each of these 4 countries, you must involve at least 1 enterprise, industry or sector representative organization, and at least 1 vet provider. So you see, you have 2 organizations as a minimum per program country. Here I wrote that the applicant must be from a program country. The applicant is the organization that submits the proposal and will be the coordinator of the project. So in addition to this minimum configuration, you can, of course, add more countries, add more partners, more enterprise, more vet provider, and more other types of organization also, like research organization, foundations, or whoever is active in the field of vet and can bring a strong contribution to the project. Okay. Eligible activities, I will not go through this in detail. Just bear in mind that the full list of activities possible is available in Part B of the application form. It's an annex. In this part, you have the full list, and there, as a minimum eligibility criteria, you have to tick 3 activities for teacher and training, this group of activities, 3 activities for cooperation and partnerships types, and 2 for governance and funding. And here I've put some examples of these activities. This is just some examples. There is a full list available in the application form Part B. There are also exclusion criteria. This refers to exclusion situations linked to legal issues, such as an organization which is bankrupt or which is in liquidation or has been found guilty of fraud. And this exclusion situation, you can find them in Part C of the program guide. I told you, the program guide is the Bible. Nearly everything is there. So, to demonstrate that you are not in the situation of exclusion, you have to tick a few fields in the application form. Very simple. But then if you are selected, you will have to sign a declaration of honor, something more formal and engaging. Okay. We have also selection criteria, the third type of criteria. Again, you can have more details about this in Part C of the program guide. There are 2 types of criteria. Criteria relating to operational capacity and criteria on the financial capacity. For the operational capacity, you have to demonstrate that you have the appropriate professional competencies and qualifications. That you have to describe in Part B of the application form. You have to describe that you have relevant skills and experience of the project staff involved. You don't need to provide CVs. If you're sufficiently detailed and provide concrete elements that we can see that you have the professional skills, this is enough. Then you should provide a list of previous and running projects. This is also part of the application form in an annex. For the financial capacity, you have to demonstrate that you have stable and sufficient source of funding, because this is important. This will only be requested if the project is selected at the end. And then you will be contacted. You will need to provide, when requested, and upload in the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal the profit and loss account, the balance sheet for the last year, and well, other documents if requested, if this is not enough. Please note that this financial capacity will not be made for public organizations, so those organizations that are considered formally public organizations. Okay, now, once you've passed all these criteria, everything is fine, we evaluate the actual quality of the proposal. And for that, we have the award criteria. There are 4 criteria: relevance of the project, quality of project design and implementation, quality of project consortium and cooperation arrangement, and impact. Here you see that there's a different weight for these criteria. The most important weight is on relevance. So, project has to be very relevant. The other criteria are also very important. The minimum score is 70 points. So you need 70% to be, let's say, in the list for potentially selected projects. You also need to have more than 50% for each of these criteria. If you fail in one of the criteria, it's not possible. Please be aware that last year we had very, very good projects. We were quite pleased with it, and the scores were were quite high, in the late 80s, let's say. So we expect the same, hopefully, success this year, very good proposal. So be aware, there's tough competition. So for the award criteria, relevance, the most important, this relates to the purpose of the project. I will go very quickly through this. You have a lot of information on each of these sub-points in the program guide. Linked to policy, this you have to demonstrate that you will develop, of course, a platform of Center of Vocational Excellence. The project has to be consistent, so you have to include a needs analysis that is coherent with the objectives and the activities. You have to be innovative, of course. Regional dimension should be a strong element of the project. You have to develop cooperation and partnership with VET and businesses. You need to demonstrate that there's European added value, internationalization outside your partnership. You need to create links with the external world. You need to include digital skills in your activities in some ways, as well as green skills, contribute to this climate change and green economy. And then there should be a kind of horizontal social dimension. We heard before about the GIVE projects, which is in which this is at the heart of the project, but here for each proposal, you should really take this into account and include issues such as equal opportunities, social inclusion. I had a question before on how can handicapped people be involved included in the COVE. Well, this is this part where that is part of the award criteria, and that we'll consider when we evaluate the proposal. And all of these points should be addressed in your application if you want a good score. Next criteria, quality of project design and implementation. There, this relates, to the structure and the management of your project. So you should demonstrate the whole proposal should be coherent between the different work package, between the activities and the objectives. There should be an appropriate methodology to reach these objectives. There should be also a solid management structure, a good budget, realistic, coherent with what you're planning to do, not overestimated or underestimated. A good work plan, realistic, and of course financial and quality control measures. This is sometimes a weakness in the project. And then if you have mobility activities, you should show how the mobility arrangement will be done. Quality of the partnership and cooperation arrangement, this relates to the composition of the partnership. So there should be an appropriate mix of organization in the configuration. There should be upward convergence. You should have partners at different stages of vocational education. Excellence, as we say. There should be a strong, good geographical dimension involving partners from different parts of Europe and the world. And you can, of course, involve partner countries. This is encouraged, but there you have to really explain how these partners will add value to the project. Because remember, you have this minimum configuration, and to that, of program countries, to that you can add partner countries. You should demonstrate strong commitment and then good collaboration. Okay, impact now. This relates to how the project will have a broader impact outside the partnership. So there you have to demonstrate how you're going to exploit the results, how you're going to disseminate them, how, of course, it will have an impact. Here we mean what the project will change, okay? What kind of change do you do you plan or do you expect in 4 years' time? And then sustainability, this relates to all the project will continue after the end. Okay, now that you've seen the criteria for evaluation, you think, okay, this is fine, I can do it. Well, good. You have a good idea, you have some partners, or you can find some partners. So let's go into the application form. So you can find this application form in the Funding and Tenders Opportunities portal. The link is here. There are 3 parts in the application form. Part A, and this is general information, which has to be entered directly in the system. It's generated as a PDF file after, and it contains general information on the title, the summary of the project, the participants in the project. This is where you have to insert the participants, and then you have to put a little summary of the project with what is the grant, what is the budget for each partner. Then there's a part B, and this is the core of the proposal. This is where you have to convince the experts and the evaluation committee that your proposal deserves to be funded. And I will go into more details in the next slide. And then there's a little part C, where you have to enter the EQF levels, because remember from the previous presentation, you have to address the different EQF levels. And here we would like to collect statistics and information about these EQF levels. So you just need to tick which EQF level are addressed. So going into a bit more detail in this application form, the technical description, part B. This is a template to be downloaded by the applicant in the submission system. It will be in Word format. You can complete it in Word format, but once it's completed, you upload it in PDF format. It includes sections on the 4 award criteria. So here you have relevance, quality, partnership and cooperation arrangement, impact. For these award criteria, for each section, please make sure that you address all the points that are defined in the award criteria. They can be in these different sections, but please make sure that all are addressed. And then in this application form, you also need to enter the work plan, the work packages, timing, and subcontracting. So the activities should be divided into work packages. You can decide how many work packages there are, but you need to have one for management and one for impact. And impact and dissemination, I think it's written in the application form. And then you should divide your activities into different type of work packages, depending on what's needed, what you prefer to do. No CV is required, as I said, but please describe the profile and expertise of staff in the part 2.2, cooperation and arrangements. And then you need to complete the list of research projects. This is in annex at the end, we don't see it here. The maximum number of pages is 120. So please be concise, because you might want to add more, but no, you have to be concrete, concise, and go to the point. And if you want to add more, you can, but it will be blurred, so you will have wasted your time. So be aware of this. Maximum, it stops there, 120 pages. There are 2 annexes to this application form. One is for the estimation of cost, and here I'm just showing it how it looks like, but my colleague Marco will explain it later after me. It's an Excel file that you need to complete, and that will determine the lump sum that you will get if you are selected. And then the second annex is information on activities and partnerships. So this is also an Excel file. It's very important here because this is where you can define your configuration of vet provider and enterprise. Remember the minimum configuration with 4 countries and vet providers and enterprises. It's written here on this slide. You can also include other organization, and then this is a free text, so you just enter it here. Make sure that you enter the complete partnership, not associated partners, but partners that receive funding in this list, okay? There are only 8 rows, I think, but you can add more. And then in this Excel file, you also have another sheet where you have to tick the activities. This is the annex I was talking about, where all the list of activities is included for the 3 clusters. Here we only see cluster 1, but you have just to tick the ones that are relevant for your project. And there is a minimum for each cluster. Okay, now we arrive at the end. Do I still have a few minutes?
Yes, please, Hélène.
Okay. I hope that you feel that you can apply. You have understood, and you think, wow, this looks very interesting. Okay, great news, fantastic. Let me give just a few advice from our point of view of having experience with previous calls and previous projects in VET and with COVE. First advice, which was already given by Joe, very important, build a strong and committed partnership in which interactions are mutually beneficial. So make sure your partners will benefit, and they know that they will benefit, and that's why they want to enter in the partnership. Because if you have a big partnership with many of them not very committed, it will be difficult. So it's better to have less partners, but only committed partners. Provide evidence of innovation. Of course, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. But it's not always evident from the proposal. Establish a strong and experienced coordination team. We have seen from experience that when the coordination is weak, the project is weak. So make sure that you have an experienced person with an experience as the coordinator, with experienced people around that can help in the partner organization. Be concrete in the description of your objective and activities. Be concrete. If it's vague, it looks like you don't know what you're going to do in the proposal. It's not necessary to add pages and pages of information that are not necessary. Pay attention to the integration of activities, consistency with the objective. Of course, everything should link together very well. Pay attention to all award criteria. They're not easy, but make an effort to address everything in the award criteria. Common mistakes in the applications. We see that often the quality indicators are not sufficiently considered. So think about how you're going to evaluate the results, the deliverables, prepare measures and indicators to evaluate these, and also evaluate the activities and the whole project. Lack of details on national or regional needs. Very often this is less well understood, maybe. Impact is often described in terms of participation in events rather than in terms of changes in knowledge, behavior, or skills. Remember, we want to know what will be the change. What change will your project bring? And it's important to describe it and to have indicators to be able to measure it, to be able to see if it really happened. And then dissemination exploitation is often described in terms of awareness raising only. Exploitation in particular should be actual use of what you're doing, testing, making it used by your target group. Okay, I think I arrived to the end of my presentation, so I'm ready to leave my seat to Marco, who will lead you to the submission and explain you everything about lump sums.
Many, many thanks, Helen. I think it was very useful indeed to give you a kind of flavor about how the selection process will be organized, implemented by the executive agency. You understood also that the scope of the call was enlarged, open nowadays to Erasmus plus other partner countries of the world, and I'm sure it's a good idea for all countries that have something really to bring to the existing consortia. You saw also how important are the award criteria in the process, and it was good that Hélène took the time to insist on those award criteria. You will find also in the application form, you will find example of activities. The list is not exhaustive, but it might inspire you in developing your application. So up to you now to start preparing. Everything was smoothly prepared. The program guide is published. The funding and tendering opportunity portal is open for submission. The e-grant was released. And since this e-grant, this electronic system for applying for a grant, is brand new in the agency, we thought that it would be good to dedicate a session to explain to you how to proceed with that. For that purpose, we have invited Marco. Marco is the person in charge of the implementation of the e-grant from the IT business perspective in the executive agency. So I'm very proud to invite Marco to explain to you where to find the COVE call in the Funding and Tenders Opportunity Portal of the European Commission, how to use this e-grant tool to prepare your application, what are the key principles the applicant should respect, what the strange acronyms like a PIC or LEAR mean. So please, Marco, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and good morning to everyone. Indeed, I'm going to cover a part which probably is less exciting when compared to what has been covered until now, but probably terribly necessary, because I'm going to present you the ecosystem, because we have in European Commission a kind of single window where you can enter, and that's where you're going to find all the administrative documents which have been described by Hélène, that you require to prepare a proper application and to submit. I'm going to walk you through a kind of step-by-step, the step-by-step approach, what happens when you prepare your application technically, and afterwards I'm going to show you, make a demo live, which is going to, I hope, be much more lively, but at least here you have a presentation which is going to remain, so that in the future you can address it, you can use it for further uses. So the first point is going to be how to find the funding opportunities. As I was mentioning, there is an ecosystem, as I call it, which is the Funding and Tender portal. Here you have a link to that, but actually you can also Google it and you can find it. And there you land in a page where you have 40 different programs managed by European Commission. And within these 40 programs, you have 4 programs which are managed by the executive agency, and the one which we are interested in today is Erasmus+. So you basically, you Google funding and tender, you get to this major landing page, you find Erasmus, you select Erasmus, you will see that by selecting Erasmus you're going to have a search field where you can put, for instance, COVE in this case, which will route you through directly to the call. If not, then you have a complete list of all the calls of Erasmus. So this was done a few weeks ago, where we only have 15. Now we already have more than 30. And there basically you can, as I was saying, you can select a specific, I'm just checking. You can select, put a keyword to get to the call, which is the one that better suits your, which is COVE in this specific case. And there you enter a page that I'm going to show you afterwards, where you have a lot of information, and including the link to the program guide, which is, as Hélène said, the kind of Bible, i.e. the document of reference, where you can find all the elements required to put together an appropriate application. And then, of course, there is the magic Start Submission button, because that's where you really enter in an environment where you can submit.
When you do that, you start to participate to the specific call. And since I'm the technical guy, I'm going to talk to you about two important technical points. One is to have a valid EU login account. It's without that you cannot access the system. So this is the first screen, which will ask you to fill it in. So otherwise you don't have access to the system. And then the other one is to have a 9-digit PIC. So the PIC is the participant identification code. It's a self declaration you need to make on a specific screen, and I'm going to show to you, so that you're going to have a unique identifier, actually not for you, but for your organization, so it's possible for the system to recognize your organization. So these are the two very important points you need to, or technical points you need to have to move forward. In the event you don't have already a PIC, or you need to create an account. In this very first page that of the funding intent report, I'm going to show it you afterwards. At the bottom there are different support icons. One is how to create your account, so it's the famous EU login, and the other one is how to register your organization to get the famous PIC. So. This is just to explain you how to get an account and a PIC in the event you don't have it yet. And once you made your login, then you enter really, I mean, this is the complete, I mean, actually the unique window where you have, well, no, sorry, it's one or two slides afterwards. So here first, excuse me, you need to enter your PIC, you enter your PIC. If you don't have it, you can set your organization, you can put your name. Then you need to say if you are your main contact or not. You need to give a very little short summary of your project. And you can add partners, which is extremely important in this call, since it has to have a minimum of some partners. Adding a partner is exactly the same thing as declaring yourself. These partners need to have a PIC, of course, because it's the PIC which is going to recognize them. And this is the window I was talking about beforehand. Once you get here you have everything. I mean, this is the most important window you need to take into consideration. Why? Because here you have, if you go back to the presentation of Hélène, she was talking about three major pillars, or three major documents, which are, or set of documents which are required to put together a proper application. This is the part A. That's where you have the administrative part covering who you are, your address, and so forth. But it's extremely important because that's where you're going to put the budget of the requested grant amount. So it's really the document where you put the amount you require to fund your project. So that's extremely important. Then here you have what we call the download part B. That's where you have all these famous templates that Hélène was talking about, which is of course the description of your project, which is extremely important. You're going to have the budget calculator, which is a mechanism I'm going to show you afterwards because it's a little bit tricky. And then you have a part C, which is an e-form when you need to answer a few questions for statistical purposes for us to monitor during the whole program. And then, of course, you need to upload them. I'm going to walk you through very rapidly to the documents because actually Ellen already did it. So if you talk now about the first part, which is the edit e-form, that's the famous part A. The part A is this kind of document. You have a table of content, and this table of content, again, here the budget. This is the unique, or let's say the official, because there are other spots where you're going to talk about budget, but that's here when you really make your request of the grant amount you want to see or you ask for. Right. Once you have done, once you have covered the part A, once you have downloaded the part B, that you have enriched and described your action, then you're asked to upload these documents. In your case, I think there are 3. We're going to see it immediately, actually. And and then off you go, you validate and submit. And here, just would like to add a little tip to be added to those that Hélène just mentioned. Don't wait the last day. Why do I say that? Because the last day you're going to be maybe 500 pinging on the same help desk. So the help desk, we have people who are there to help you, but they cannot help 500 people in one go in one day. Don't be afraid to validate and submit, even 1 week before. You can always go back until the deadline is hit. You can always go back, retrieve your application and modify it. So don't be afraid to do it 1 day before or 2 or 3 days before. And why it's important to avoid to do it at the last very moment, because you're going to see that maybe there is a little glitch because the PDF you're using is not right, the Excel version that you're using is not right, or you're experiencing difficulties in uploading something. We have an help desk which is there to help you. But again, it's less stressful if you have 1 or 2 days ahead of you and not 1 or 2 hours. And especially if you're lining up in a queue, waiting that the help desk can support you. So really, please don't submit at the very last minute. Before I move to the LEAR, I would like to, as I was mentioning to you, to do a kind of real-time presentation of FNTP. As I was saying before, FNTP, of course, in the presentation I'm going to send you, there is a hyperlink which allows you to get there. But if you just put funding and tenders portal, the system will find it. Bingo, here it is, and the machine is going to show you exactly what I was mentioning to you before, which are the famous 40 programs which are managed by the the European Commission is managing, and out of these 40, there are the ones which we manage in European, in the agency, and Erasmus being the one we need. I'm going to use one. Of course, how come? Okay, our technicians, for whatever reason, is stuck. And then, it's impossible for me to shout because it's at something like 30 meters in a cabin, in an aquarium, and he's not looking at me. I think we'll. Okay, we're going to ping. Normally speaking. Un peu de patience.
In the meantime, if I may, I can answer to some questions from Slido. Someone was asking why is it mentioned, why did I spoke about 44 million for the budget and not 400 million as João mentioned? Well, 400 million is for the whole period of 7 years, and 44 million is for 1 year.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, technically speaking, I was making a mistake, sorry. I should have taken the presentation of PowerPoint away. Now we see it, we have it, it's okay, thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, just keep it like that. Okay. It's a mistake I made. In spite of being an IT
the link for the matchmaking tool, many people are asking for it also. Many people are asking for the presentations. They will be sent in they will be put in the event page after the meeting. Okay, back to Marco.
Yes, sorry, we had a little IT issue. In spite of being an IT person myself, sometimes I get caught myself in this kind of little situation. So, right, this is the funding and tender portal. So that's where you have the 40 different programs managed through this new system, which is called e-grants. I already registered myself, but I was mentioning before, you can Google it very easily. If you go here into funding and tender portal, Google is bright enough to go and find the page of the European Commission. So once you're there, you can either try to